So, with the arrival of Extinction, a bunch of different QoL changes, quality of life changes, have happened to ARK. Mainly for Extinction, but across other maps as well. Most of these you don't need the Bobs Pack for to take advantage of, but all of these you definitely want to know about. So, first up, gachas. Hopefully you know how these work. Simply throw down something for them to eat, and they'll pick it up. Have a little munch. Take the time to have a munch. Munch may be quicker than anything. I can't believe it just took me tech foundations and kept them. Apparently it doesn't eat tech foundations. That's interesting. Does it eat a tech replicator? Go on, eat that then. Would it eat the replicator? Apparently they don't eat tech anymore. So that's useful to know. Right, there we go. This one just ate those. Took those. You're going to get an eat on. I guess, well, it's not going to eat because it's not hungry. Let's pump its food up. Oh, there we go. This gacha's now eating the tech foundations. Nice little chunk there. And after they've done that, they'll pop a crystal, which you pick up, and you press E to get a resource. And you'll either get a resource or some loot. And if you get some resources that you don't need, you can feed it back to them and jobs are good. But to take full advantage of them, you need a mate pair, and you need them saddled, and you need to only have 2 within a certain radius. Now, on ARK Survival Evolved, there was a distance of which you could have gachas before they would get unhappy. If I bring this gacha over just a little bit, you'll notice them turn a very sad face momentarily. So yeah, you'll notice now they aren't too happy. At least this one over here isn't too happy because the same gender of it is in too close a proximity. And there was a foundation radius you had to put these, which used to be pretty far, but now isn't too bad. They've reduced it on ARK Survival Ascended. So now in ARK Survival Ascended, your genders must be at least 9 foundations away to remain happy and make sure they're producing. If it's less than that, then they're unhappy and they won't produce anything for you. So that's a good thing to know because people are going to be setting up gacha farms. And if you're setting up a gacha farm, you might not know this. This is kind of how it's done. I mean, there's other ways to get it set up really, but you want snow owls dropping pellets, dropping their poop, which our gachas will pick up, and that will help buff any loot that they create. These are the best loot sources possible. Plant species Y traps. Of course, with cross transfers turned off at the moment, you can't really do much about this until they're open, but anyone on unofficial or single player, you can take full advantage of these. There's other loot sources, but these are the best ones to get the best possible loot source you can. And if you've got a bunch of these running at once, all popping out crystals all over the shop, and obviously with each crystal that's popping out their back, they've all got a set timer on them. Well, now there's a thing that Wildcard have introduced, which is Pegos. They are able to pick up gacha crystals for you. And I'm pretty sure I'm expecting it to work exactly like Overraptors, where there's a certain radius depending on what level it is. So if you press E on a Pego now, you can enable gacha crystal collection. But this is a level 1. If I put a few levels in this now, hopefully that will capture. There we go. Now it's a high enough level, it can capture that one there. So I'm assuming this one, that's 225. If I turn this one on now, there we go, it's capturing a much wider radius. It's took these crystals that are just dropped there. So there you go. Now you've got a bit more of an automated setup. So if we now get all of our plant Y that we've got, and then we'll just throw these down. And there you go. Let our gachas get busy. And they're going to start making crystals like no tomorrow. So we'll have a quick look at those. And we'll just look at it from here as they pop out the crystals. Our little Pego there, the 225 Pego is going to pick them up, right? There it is. Straight into the Pego. Job's a good one. That's a great automated feature now. Obviously, you can think of a more elaborate way of setting this up, but you're laughing there. So whenever you're ready, you can get busy. Start getting a bunch of different loot sources. Job done. So we'll leave them running for now. So that's gachas and Pegos. Oh, and gachas will also be sad if you leave them in caves now. Wildcard have introduced a new thing with gachas that you have to have them outdoors to take advantage of them. A new way to keep you all building outdoors rather than having giant gacha farms in caves. But there's tech creatures which finally did arrive to Extinction, despite us a bit cautious of whether they was going to or not. And with tech creatures, they all get those additional bonus levels on top. So you do want to go for max levels. You're going to get a perfect tame to pop out at 270, which is pretty hot, which makes all of these worth gunning for, and all of them also producing electronic, scrap metal, oil, and all that jazz, as well as being much stronger creatures, especially the Tech Rex. Because you know you like your Rexes, don't you? But these aren't the only tech creatures, it seems, in the game. For some reason, Raasclark decided that they'd enable the inclusion of Tech Trikes and Tech Gigas, which originally came with Genesis 1. They weren't in the game until then. But here they are, in the flesh, and as you might have known in ASE if you played with any unofficial versions of these, they work exactly how they did before. They're breedable. You can tame them, you can use them if you decide to change the config and have these spawn as wilds. It's able to be done. There's ways to do it. I had a guide. It's one of my very first videos I ever did on how to get Tech Gigas in the game. And they're here. They're in the base game. Weirdly, you can spawn them if you want to. And it's simply Bionic Giga or Bionic Trike if you want to spawn these in. Dirt. With a wonder if these are going to possibly enter into the main game at some point in the future. But they're here nonetheless. And talking about these creatures, Gigas and Rexes, well, Raasclark decided to add a new thing, a new headshot damage bonus to creatures, more creatures in the game, some that you never got headshots on before. So Rexes give me a body shot of 34, but can I do a headshot now? 52. You can headshot Rexes now. That is pretty insane, meaning at the very least, taming Rexes now, it's worth aiming for the head at all times. That's massive. That's huge. Spinos now have the same deal as well. You can now get headshot damage on Spinos, making them easier to tame than before as well. Dodes now have headshot damage as well. Ankies don't seem to. Ankies still don't have headshot damage. Okay, so not every creature has had the buff. Ankies still don't take headshot damage. Spiders don't take headshot damage. Argents. Do Argents take headshot damage now? Oh, they do! They do! You can headshot Argies! That's massive! Oh, that's big! Holy hell! Holy crap, I'm doing 157 with a primitive crossbow. That's disgusting! Right, Brontos apparently take headshot damage. Let's have a look. Do Brontos. I missed you. 34. Oh, they do! You can do headshot damage to Brontos now. That's huge. Oh, Diabear takes headshot damage now as well. That's massive. So I'm betting in that case then, because of all these creatures that are getting headshot damage, then gas bags surely must do, shouldn't they? Mammoth? Oh, Mammoth takes headshot damage as well. That's big. That's big. Megatherium. Megatherium takes headshot damage. But then there's one particular thing that surprised us and is included. Where is it? And this one we know about. This is how we discovered it in the first place. Gigas take headshot damage as well, making these a heck of a lot easier to tame in the future, dude. Massive. That's never already running. I don't believe it. I hit you twice. There's no way. There's no way. So headshot damage, a big deal. It is a game changer for taming. It's going to be a game changer for PvP now. People are going to be a lot more wary of taking on each other with Gigas, especially, right? It's definitely going to switch up the metas. So it turns out, you remember the 3x3 gates that Raasclark mentioned during their Extra Life stream? And we've been trying to figure out how to get in. They're in the game. They're here. And in fact, there's even bigger gates. So if you simply select the ceiling structure and rotate through it, you'll find eventually hangar door or barn door. And this is your hangar, opening that way. and barn doors, which is going to offer a new way of creating entrances for your bases, and purposefully created especially for the arrival of the battle rig garages, right? And these come in wood variations, metal variations, tech variations, which is very nice. I love these new squares. And yes, there's even bigger barn doors, 3x3. Look at the size of that. That's very nice. And a 5x5 monster. Look at that. Now you've got way more variety in different barn doors now, and I'm expecting a wealth of new base designs as a result. The bigger barn doors can all be found by finding the cellar variants, and yes, come in tech variants as well. So look at the size of that. And this one's even called a garage door. It's a tech garage door. That's badass, man. Yo. Look at that. So definitely offering some new ways to build, right? But yeah, barn doors are in, and hangar doors. So there we go. Now we know. Thank you very much, Wildcard, for bringing those in. It took us a hot minute to figure that one out. And then world events. A thing, you know, that you might have remembered from Gen 2, and in fact work very similar in this new arrival of Extinction, and only work on Extinction at the moment, and come in the form of the roaming King Titan that you're going to find out and about every single day, spawning in a certain area and offering you a limited time to beat said King Titan. Upon killing the King Titan, you'll be given a world buff. Each of these world buffs do seem to have a limited time. I think they do expire after a certain few hours, and if your server restarts or your single player game restarts, you will lose all the world buffs altogether. But it's almost aligned with the same world buffs from Gen 2. So there's health regen to increase health regen by 50%, a stamina drain decrease to lower your stamina loss by 25%. Again, these affect all players on the map. That's why it's called a world buff, if you didn't know that. A harvesting health increase, increasing the health of all resources by 50%. A taming speed increase, increasing taming by 50%. Egg hatching increase, allowing eggs to hatch 50% quicker. A wild dino damage decrease, which lowers wild creatures damage by 20%. A mating interval decrease, which reduces the mating interval time by 25%. A survival boon that improves your water and food by 50%. It drains that much slower. A tamed dino damage increase that improves your output by 20% on all creatures. An experience gain that improves yours and tame's experience by 50%. A crop growth increase that allows crops to grow 50% faster. A baby boon effect that improves the maturation time on your babies, of course. In fact, their time is halved, and the interval time between imprinting is lowered by 10%. And a resource regen increase, increasing the time for stuff like metal and rocks to regenerate. But that's not all. Apparently, the Wandering King Titan unlocks. There's one special, very, very rare reward that we've all been trying to figure out for a very long time that it should offer you if you're lucky. And that is the corrupted costume. That's correct. The trailer wasn't a lie. You can get the skin. You can't tame corrupted creatures. You get a skin from killing the King Titan, and you now have your own very own cool looking corrupted Rexes. But not just Rexes. You can also find corrupted Giga skins too. Oh, making them look mean and dirt. Look at that. And that's it. There's no others. Only Rex and Giga at the moment. It's a wonder if Wildcard might introduce skins for the other ones, but there you go. They're in the game. That's how you get them. Was a nightmare to figure it out, and thank you to the help that I got for figuring it out. And obviously, you might be noticing that I'm wearing the corrupted skin. It's exactly like ASE. You've got to get the certain explorer notes on the map to get the corrupted skin. And as well as that, the new Bob notes. In getting them, you'll get an additional 5 max levels on your character, as well as now 15 ascension levels from killing Alpha King Titan, which is a brand new thing to ASE. You never got any survivor levels from killing the King Titan before, so it's great to see that reward in, as well as a bunch of tech stuff whenever you kill the King Titan. And with all that precious element dust you've been harvesting, or maybe even elements that you need to turn it into dust now, well, replicators now have a function where you can craft element dust. This was never a thing in ASE. You had to go to terminals to craft your element dust, and now you don't need to do that anymore. You can do it in the comfort of your own home. Craft dust well away, job done, there we go, dust for days. Crafting it pretty damn quick at that. And talking about elements, well, with the arrival of Extinction and now it being phenomenally easier to obtain element, of course, Wildcard decided to buff the element rewards for all of the bosses through the main game. So that means Alpha Broodmother drops 178 elements, Alpha Megapithecus drops 264 element, Alpha Rockwell drops 264 element as well, and the Dragon drops a whopping 528 element, and surprisingly, the easy to farm monster Alpha Manticore drops a monstrous 514 element. Something I was surprised to find, and I'm sure a lot of people may be farming that one to get a wealth. But then again, you know, Extinction, look at all this dust I got in quick succession. Maybe you might be farming element veins quicker than fighting the bosses on the other maps, because there's different ways to do these with ease. Well, there we go. That's your 10 new QoL features. Hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, comment below and all that jazz. Until the next one, my name's Raasclark. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, peace out.